She sat in her apartment engrossed in work, trying to distract herself from thought of Jungkook. The more she remembered him, the more she worked. His absence and betrayal caused her immense pain, which intensified whenever she experienced physical discomfort. Despite running a high fever, she worked tirelessly until a severe headache struck, forcing her to clutch her head in agony. Excessive caffeine consumption had triggered migraines. Her pain worsened. She hastily closed the laptop and hurried to bed, grabbing her migraine medication and sleeping pills from the side table. Overwhelmed by severe headache and body ache, tears streamed down her face. The sleeping pills quickly kicked in and she fell asleep. The intense fever left her shivering, but the combined effect of the pill and fever rendered her too weak to even cover herself with blanket. Hours later, he stood outside Vine's apartment door at midnight, having spent time locating her address. Overwhelmed by mixed emotion of joy and apprehension. He was uncertain about how to confront her or how she would respond. Would she be furious, ignore him, or accept his explanation? He stood there preoccupied with these thoughts. He had come only to talk to her. If she refused one, he would try again and again. He turned the door handle and found it unlocked. He entered anxious and found the apartment plugged in darkness. He turned on the mobile flashlight and located the switchboard to turn on the lights. He began searching for wine, checking the kitchen and bedroom. Finally, he opened the last bedroom door and found her sleeping on the bed, which brought him a sense of relief. That crazy girl was sleeping so peacefully and she had not even locked the apartment door. Who knows when she becomes so careless? He approached her. The room was dark, but moonlight streaming through the window faintly illuminated it, and this soft glow and pale face shimmered. Her hair fallen to one side, and her eyes surrounded by dry tears stained. Her eyelids were damp, and her hand dangled off the bed as if she was not sleeping but unconscious. She wore her office clothes, lying there lifeless. She didn't look the same. Her face was pale and worn out, and her health seemed to have Jungkook. What had this foolish girl done to herself? Disapproving of her carelessness, he took one hand and placed it on the bed, but her hand felt unusually warm. Her flushed face and red nose alarmed him, and he touched her face anxiously, finding her body temperature extremely high. Vine, open your eyes. In a state of distress, he gently patted Vine's face, trying to rouse her, but she didn't stir. After a while, the doctor left after checking Vine, prescribing medicines and cold compress due to soft fever. Seeing her condition, Jungkook anger at himself intensified, thinking that once happy and smiling him was now in this state because of him. He removed his coat and watch, placed them aside, and sat beside Vine's pillow, applying the compresses while his gaze wandered over her face. Forgive me, my love. Today you are in this state because of me. This thought had kept him away from Ryan before, and now it compelled him to maintain distance. He quietly applied cold compresses to Ryan's forehead, holding back tears. When her fever subsided, he stepped away, ensuring she was fully covered with the blanket. He sat in a chair, keeping a distance, and gazed at her. He wanted to satiate this longing to look at her. Dawn was approaching, and as the soft light crept in, he got up and stepped outside. He intended to head to the kitchen next, wanting to prepare breakfast fast for her before she woke up. Who knew if she had chosen to let him stay or leave after waking up? As the light fell on her face, her sleep began to disturb, and her eyes slowly opened. She opened her eyes with discomfort. As she removed the blanket, she noticed a man's coat and watch on the table. Her gaze fixed on the watch. She knew it well, having seen it on someone's wrist for years. The same person's scents now filled the room. How could he possibly be here? Why would he come here for me? I must be hallucinating, nothing more. There must be other in the world who wear this scent too. He stood up, muttering to herself, and picked up the watch from the table to examine it. She smiled bitterly. He is now a wealthy man. Why would he still keep this old watch I gifted him? It must belong to someone else. But who came to my apartment last night? She felt uneasy and picked up the coat, bringing it closer. The familiar scent from years ago enveloped her sense again. Cook. His name escaped her lips involuntarily. Tears rose up in her eyes. Stepping into the lounge, she saw him standing in the kitchen, his hair with his sleeves rolled up to his elbow and busy in cracking eggs, transfixed by the person who has captivated her. She was mesmerized after so long. Tears streamed down her face. The wound of her wounded heart, which had begun to heal, would feel fresh again, and she felt the blood dripping from them once again. After countless struggles, she had finally learned to live without him. But she wouldn't be deceived again. The pain he had inflicted on her heart wouldn't soften her resolve this time. Anger replaced her agony. Why had he come to rip on old wounds? She ruthlessly wiped away her tears and headed to kitchen, her eyes now burning with anger and resentment. Noticing someone approaching, he looked toward the door and was taken aback upon seeing Ryan. What the hell are you doing here in my apartment? Don't you have the decency to know that you can't enter someone's apartment in the middle of the night without their permission or use someone's belongings without their consent? She yelled at him in anger, but her outburst didn't seem to have any effect on him. He continued with his tasks. It's good to see that you still remember me. I thought you might have forgotten me by now. I rang the apartment bell, but no one answered, and the door was open, so I let myself in. Did I tell you to come to my house, Mr. Jungkook, or show off your fake cousin or make breakfast for me? I don't recall ever saying anything like that to someone like you, so why are you here today? I just wanted to see you, that's why I came, but you were severely ill and alone, so I stayed, that's all. So did you suddenly remember to visit me today? That was not necessary either. I don't need anyone, and especially not someone useless like you. I don't need you in any corner of my life. She spoke in extremely harsh and dismissive tone and in raised voice, and her words and tone stung him, for this was the same girl who had always spoken to him with tender love and softness, and today her demeanor was unrecognizable. However, her words and tone didn't affect him. Have your breakfast and take your medicine, then I'll leave. Your breakfast is ready. He had placed her favorite breakfast in front of her. I said, get the hell out of my house and my life. Can't you even listen to this one simple request of mine? Overcome with fury, she screamed and hurled at the breakfast tray, her eyes brimming with tears, her body quivered with rage. And Jungkook grew concerned seeing her in such a state. Vine, calm down, you're not well, don't be angry. Can't we have a peaceful conversation for just a couple of minutes? When there's nothing left to talk about, you crossed every limit. I can't tolerate you for even a moment. Get out of here. I don't want to touch you or else I'd throw you out of this house. The only reason I'm sparing you is so you can leave with some dignity. She let out a other furious scream and witnesses her escalating distress. He grew increasingly concerned. Wine, I only need 2 minutes of your time. Please just listen to me once. Spare yourself the anguishing of hear me out of this one time. Why, no, I told you to leave. I don't want to see your face. I despise you. Get out of here. Her voice shook with rage, yet tears flowed from her eyes. She longed to hide her tears from him, but her pain left her defenseless. All right, I am leaving. He spoke with concern, and Van grasped his arm and pushed him out the door, locking it behind him. She sat beside the door, burying her face in her knees, and wept uncontrollably. Jungkook sat on the other side of the door, listening to her sobs, his own eyes brimming with tears. Her crying pained him, yet he was helpless against fate. Their destiny purpose still held much more suffering in store. At night, she sat on the couch in her room, hugging her knees, thinking about him. He had not returned since yesterday, and she didn't want him to, but deep down she hoped he would. Unbeknownst to her, she awaited his return. Tears welled up in her eyes, and her mind was consumed by thoughts of him. Her gaze fixed on his coat and watch left behind yesterday. Despite wanting to despise him, she couldn't. Why have you come here again? I told you not to return. Don't you have any shame after being humiliated once you still enter someone's house without permission? She let out at him in anger and her voice dripping with disdain. Yet he couldn't help but gaze at her flushed cheeks and tear-stained eyes. Your health was not well, so I came to ask about you and brought some of your favorite cookies for you. Don't worry, I won't take much of your time. Have you been crying? People are so strange. She gestured for him to leave, though his words cut deeper than before, but he concealed his anguishing and feeling, making them with a gentle smile and a bowed head. I'll do as you say, but please hear me out once. I have not come to enter your life or cause you more distress again. You will. You misunderstanding and hurting yourself. Which misunderstanding are you referring to, and which suffering of mine do you want to end? Are you talking about the misunderstanding I witnessed with my own eyes? Then you invite me to the party and kiss that girl in front of me as if she was your long lost love. You want to alleviate the pain of 9 years during which I loved you every moment, and you turn my love into a lifelong punishment. Tell me, which misunderstanding and suffering of mine do you want to end? She was advancing towards him, consumed by anger, wanting to unleash the dust of years accumulated within her. Meanwhile, Jungkook listened silently, also eager to understand what she thought of him. Did you ever genuinely care of me? You never had any love, never, just a means to an end. Once you got what you needed, you crumpled up me up and threw me away like used tissue. When these are two sides to every picture, what appear to be reality can be entirely different. It's also possible that the side you saw is opposite of the truth, her words, and caused her immense inner pain. But he had become numb and was responding with patience. Oh, you're calling that a lie. Next year claim it was not even you but someone who looks just like you. And I am supposed to believe that that's just your own misunderstanding. He took two steps back as she spoke harshly and came closer to him and took a deep breath. The person in front of him was sipping venom, and he listened silently. No one had ever humiliated him this much in life as this girl had done in just 2 days. Yet he didn't get angry. He thought that he deserved it. I won't talk nonsense with you anymore, Wine. It was me. I just want to say that I was not in my senses. Stop lying, Jungkook. Just stop, please. You don't drink or do drugs. I know that much. I have never seen you touch a drop of alcohol. Or was that just another act to impress me? Fine, please don't get angry and trying to understand calmly what I'm trying to say. I was not drunk. I was under the influence of drugs. I know what I did was wrong. I am not denying my mistake. I messed up and I apologize for it. I can understand your pain, waiting and loving someone for years only to be betrayed, but I didn't do all that intentionally. I was under the influence of drugs. Everything was blurry. I couldn't recognize anyone. But one thing I remember, even then my mind was only thinking of you. I thought it was you. My mistake was not recognizing it was not you. But honestly, my ability to think and understand was numb. What nonsense are you talking about? If I were in your place, even in a drunk state, if any other man then you touched me, I know it was not you. I recognize your touch. I sense your presence around me. I can identify you blindfolded just by your scent, just because my heart is connected to you. Let's assume for a moment that you were indeed drugs, but if you had even a little love for me, you wouldn't recognize me. In all these years, only I loved you, and you never expressed love for me, even for a moment. When it's not necessary to constantly talk on the phone or establish physical relation in love. I have different perspective. Love isn't just about physical intimacy or constant declaration for me. Love requires respecting and caring for your partner, understanding their worth until you officially accept and value your partner. And physical connection is just an infatuation, not love. I knew how to love you. You were precocious to me, and I considered even touching you without your consent to be disrespectful. First, I wanted to become worthy of you and introduce you to my love. You may not know, but it haunted me that I was not deserving of your love. I wanted to become worthy before claiming your love. Yes, I couldn't give you time, but you know my schedule was hectic. Even finding time for meals was challenging. I thought you understood my busy schedule and wouldn't complain about my inability to express love, but you never understood me either. I was never worthy of you. I tried to become worthy, but I couldn't. Forgive me for wasting your years under the false impression that I could become worthy of you. I ruined my first kiss with someone else mistakenly in a drugged state, but your feeling stopped me from going further. I came here to clear your misunderstanding. You will always remain an unfulfilled longing for me. You want me to never show myself to you for the rest of my life. According to your wish, I promise you, you will never have to see me again. Goodbye forever. Take care of yourself. May you find peace and solace. He wiped away the tears from his eyes and left through the same door he had entered, never to return. She stood there listening and watching as each word he spoke pierced her heart. She saw tears in his eyes, thought he couldn't express his love. He had loved her deeply and intensely. Not everyone expressed love the same way. Those who love deeply often to do so quietly. I wanted him to live forever, so why am I hurting now that she is gone? Why yet sorrow grips me now? He left and that's what he came for. Why does this person always hurt me in a new, different ways? She saw on the floor crying uncontrollably, tears streaming down her face. He had hurt her even more than before. Why I'm thinking about him? He is gone and he was never mine. Does he think I'll believe everything he say? I'm not the same person who trusts him blindly. Maybe he is still lying, trying to deceive me again. I won't trust him again. I won't forgive him. She was shaking to herself, gazing at the cookie he had bought and left on the table. Yes, he knew her preference. He knew everything about her. From the start, he loved her selflessly to the point where he left for forever just to make her happy without thinking about how he would live without her. His silent love had today separated him from his love forever.